get some coffee at that time. Okay, if if writing a newsletter feels like one more thing on your never-ending to-do list, you are not alone. Most business owners either just don't send one at all or they send it so inconsistently that it just like it has no traction, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but here's the truth about a newsletter. It is still one of the most powerful ways to grow your business. It is low cost, it is high trust, and it can actually drive sales if you do it right.
So today we are going to break down why newsletters still work, what to say in a newsletter, how often to send one, and how to build a repeatable system so your newsletters go out on a regular basis, but it's not a burnout for you. Welcome to the Big Bad Marketing Podcast. I'm Janae.
And I'm Brooke, and we are marketers, coaches, and content nerds who help business owners like you get unstuck and start growing. If you're ready to stop leaving money on the table and finally hit send on your first newsletter, you're in the right spot. Let's
Let's
do
do this.
this. All right, newsletters are near and dear to our hearts as content creators and creators of newsletters for our clients. We do this for many of our
Oh, yeah, it's
clients.
twofold for us, huh?
It
We do it for
is.
Big Bad, and then we also support clients by producing their newsletters.
Yes. And the reason that we do that is clients come to us and say, I really want to have this consistent touch point with my audience and tell them what I'm up to and what's new and promote myself. But the idea of making this newsletter is making me want to scream.
Yes. And then they're like, I heard your podcast. I heard that you produce newsletters. Can you please do mine for me?
Yes, exactly. And one of the things that I think the average business owner kind of combats when they think about doing a newsletter is like, isn't this dead? Isn't everybody already doing a newsletter? Like, if I hop in now, basically, it's sort of similar to how people feel about podcasts, right? Like, there's so many podcasts out there. If I start one now, I'm just more noise in the chaos. So, what would we say to that, Janae, when somebody's like, I don't want to send another email?
Okay. I don't know if you're going to love my answer because I just feel real hot takey about this and real one foot in, one foot out. As a marketer, as a professional, as Big Bad Marketing, I'm like, hell yeah, you need a newsletter. This is just like a simple, almost set it and forget it system that you can templatize, make it really easy for yourself. Use AI tools to help you produce or a team of amazing, beautiful happy marketing experts to do it for you. Shout out Big Bad Marketing. um, but I also feel deeply the annoyingness of getting emails all the time, which isn't to say that they're newsletters or that they're bad emails. I just get real annoyed by like a clogged up inbox and I'm on a personal mission of like, how do I defeat this aside from just unsubscribing and never signing up for them? So I guess I want to acknowledge like the more value and quality that you can weave into newsletters by being really strategic and being really well thought out with them and then giving the people what they want in those newsletters, the better the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, and we just recorded a couple great podcast episodes about focus and staying focused. And one thing with that, when it comes to your email, is I think I have tried to really curate my email. I've gone through and unsubscribed from a lot of things because it gets so noisy. And I am wholeheartedly of the mindset that if your newsletter is bringing real value and people are invested in you and your business and the thing that you do, then a newsletter is one of the best non-pushy, salesy marketing tactics that you can use, and you can do it in a really authentic way that feels good to you and not like you're just shoving stuff down someone's throat and popping up when they don't want to hear from you.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm envisioning like my mailbox at home that gets stuffed with like a lot of junk mail that I did not subscribe to. And what I appreciate about what you're pointing out here is like all of the emails I get, for better or worse, I have in some way given permission to get those emails. And you can at any time go through and be like, I don't want this anymore, which both of us do on a regular basis. But what I like about that is that it builds intrinsic boundaries into the newsletter system, helping minimize the cringiness of it. So people who don't want your newsletter and they're just not your people are going to unsubscribe, and you don't have to worry about annoying them because they're not going to get your emails anymore. They're going to be like, thank you, no thank you, and leave it at that.
Yes. And one of the things that we love about the email newsletter, because of that reason, is it's a really engaged audience. You own this list. It is curated to people who have said, yes, I like you. I want to hear from you. I am okay with you sending me things. And if they're at one point in life, for whatever reason, just not your people anymore, they can unsubscribe. So it feels like it keeps this list really engaged in a way that you're following on social media can't possibly do because you're not
Mm.
restricting it and putting the boundaries around it in the same way.
Yes, yes. And I want to highlight what you just said, which is the email list is so important because you own the list. This is like your little black book of contacts. It's not a little black book, but it's like your secret coveted list of people who are interested in what you're doing, at least mildly interested enough that you have their email address. So you like whatever happens on social media, TikTok bans, like I don't know, people delete their accounts, whatever it is, like this is a stable list that you always have power over. Where like on IG, if you have a huge amount of followers but then IG gets mad and is like, you posted something inappropriate, we're banning your account, right? That's it, everything out the door. You have no way of contacting those people anymore. This is a list you own. It's in your pocket. You can always use, segment, automate, refine, like all kinds of things, and it will always be available to you because you own it.
Yes. So let's dive into what actually makes a good newsletter. What is going to flip the script on this idea of email being annoying and people are going to actually be excited to open it?
Okay. I think the big thing about making an email newsletter exciting is going to be driving value. So if you just send people emails that's like, what up? And then there's just not a whole lot of useful information for them, or you regurgitate the same thing over and over, right? Like that's what leads me to get annoyed. But if you are sharing things that are industry updates, they're relevant, they really help the user like um navigate this the sphere, the industry, whatever the problem statements are, with more ease and clarity by giving them valuable nuggets or actionable steps, right? That's why they're going to get excited to see it and open it. It's not just like, hello, here's some news. It's like, hello, here's some value. And they're like, oh, this brand, I trust this brand because they really actually helped me out.
Yeah. What really turns me off when I open an email is a hard sell out of the gate. Like when somebody just comes in hot and they're like, hey, come buy this thing right now. I am like, delete, unsubscribe, don't come back.
Okay, I feel like that statement extends even to in person. And it's, I was just at a workshop about this, but like sales is often so clunky, awkward, cringy because it feels pushy. It feels like people are showing up trying to convince you to buy this thing. And they did like a survey of the room and nobody raised their hand. Like, do you like being sold to? Do you like being aggressively sold to? Like, no, nobody wants that.
Yeah. So if you can make your newsletter a conversation, not a news broadcast or a sales pitch, that is what really makes a newsletter good. It's you're showing up, you're being consistent, you have really clear points of value for your readers. You're giving them things they actually want to talk about. And I love your point, Janae, about it addresses pain points and provides solutions to those pain points, and it injects your personality. Like, be you and let it come through. This should feel like typing an email to a friend. It shouldn't feel like regurgitated AI garbage. Like, tell a story, be yourself, show
Mm-hmm.
up as you. And that is what's really going to make a good newsletter that people are going to want to open and they're going to want to share with other people.
Oh yeah. And I love the personality point you're making because Like we throw gifs into our emails and like silly little memes and pictures because that's who we are. Like you should see our Slack channels because they're just filled with like silly stickers and pictures all the time. But I think even as we're talking, we're very animated and excited. So it feels like a really clear and sort of connected experience. It's seamless when you talk with us and we're like, "La," we're waving our hands and telling jokes and making puns. And then you get an email and it's just like that. And our whole brand experience is just like that. Like you create a cohesive experience. So I love that, especially just because I love our vibes. We got good vibes.
Agreed. So, how often should you send a newsletter?
Okay, so there's different schools of thought on this. You can show up all the time, or you can show up sometimes, or you can show up infrequently. It kind of depends, I would say, on the product or service you have. And I was actually just listening to another podcast where we talked about this, but like you really have to put it into the context of what is the thing you do and how integral to the user's experience is it, like on a day to day? Do they need to hear about your water filter systems on a daily basis or a weekly basis? Like, I'm gonna go with no. Probably they need that like every 6 months or when it's time to replace it. Versus if you sell a service that they need to use, like a calendar system or whatever, on a very regular basis, they're going to want to hear from you more often, or maybe it would be helpful if they heard from you more often because it's more integral to their day to day life.
Yeah. I'm going to take the approach that the frequency of your newsletter is directly tied to the amount of valuable content you produce. So if you are someone who is creating one podcast a month and one blog post a month, then maybe a monthly newsletter to be like, hey, here's some value I'm bringing to you makes sense. But there are some creators that we follow who are literally pumping hundreds of pieces of content every single week. And they email more frequently because they want to notify us of these things that we're going to find helpful. So I think that's a really natural way to think about it. If you are someone who is a little bit more private and reserved. Say you're a graphic designer and you design websites for people. Maybe you're not putting out a ton of content, but you still want to have a newsletter because you have a following of people who are interested in the things that you're doing. And maybe you do logo design, another thing, and you like to share this with your community. Maybe once a month feels right. At Big Bad Marketing, we do monthly. And if you're interested in signing up for our newsletter, you can head to bigbadmarketing.com/newsletter and we'll land in your inbox around the first ish of every month, but we will definitely show up there monthly. And that is a cadence that we feel works for us because of the amount of content we produce, the number of things that we want to share with our people. And that's a cadence that feels achievable for us. And that's a really important
Sustainable.
point, too.
Yeah, okay, I definitely see the trajectory you're going in with the it's tied to how much you produce. And I like you nailed it. I think you're right. For us, it's also a sustainability piece.
Mhm.
And there's this feeling like I'm thinking of some of our favorite experts who email me like every day. And I'm like, this is awesome, but I don't know how you're producing so much content. And do you really, like from yesterday, you have more things to say? And so for me, there's also this like quality over quantity, which is again, it's just I think a preference at this point because I'm like, that's a guerrilla tactic in my mind when they're guerrilla marketing and sending me an email like 4 emails a week. It's yes, you're top of mind. I get it, but it's also like, do you really have more value to share, or are you trying to tell me stories and subtly suck me into whatever it is? And then I start to actually lose trust because of that, where I'm like, in our case, because we're the best and we know everything, I'm like, just kidding. But I'm like, that feels reasonable to me to reach out to people in their busy lives and be like, hey, we have some things we are excited to share with you. And certainly there's room to amp that up over time. But I mean, I'll say it now out loud. Who knows what's going to happen? But I'm like, I don't really ever want to get to a place where we're emailing people 4 and 5 times a week. I'm just like, do we think what we have to say is so important that people need to hear it that often? For me, there's a point of diminishing returns on that one.
Yeah. And sometimes I think the audience dictates it, but I think in general, when you're doing a newsletter and this is more of a roll up and a synopsis and a more in-depth thing, even if you do have, say, lots of drip campaigns and lots of nurture campaigns running and you're promoting a lot of things, you can still pick a realistic cadence for these type of like roll up emails. And maybe even if you are producing a lot of content, monthly still feels the best for you. But the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that we want to stress is that consistency is always going to trump frequency. So
Quality over quantity.
exactly.
Yes.
All the time. So if you have to start with a quarterly newsletter, do that
I love
until it
that.
feels achievable for you to move to monthly. But don't put yourself in a position where you get so excited. And I do see this a lot with small business owners. They get excited about the thing that they want to do and they say, oh, I'm going to send a weekly newsletter. Let me go ahead and send my first one. Oop, yep, boom, there it goes out into the ether. I've just sent a weekly newsletter. And now I have set this expectation with my audience that I am going to show up every week. And now I'm getting busier and I'm getting more overwhelmed, but I still feel like I have to do this newsletter. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, that is the recipe for burnout right there.
Oh, yeah. And that is now you're no longer aligned with your North Star and you're not focused because you're doing things that you've created almost busy work for yourself and feel productive. But like I said, there's a point of diminishing returns. So
Mhm.
I think it's all as you zoom out and you start to really build, like you see all of these things in a different way.
Yeah, completely
Yeah.
agree.
Um, okay, I also want to mention something here, which I know we're talking about newsletters, but in general, I think emails are very much part of nurturing leads, right? You've gotten these prospects into your sales funnel because they've opted in, and now they're somewhere in that funnel. And your job here is just to continue to show up and build trust by giving them value and make them feel like you know what you're talking about. Show yourself as the expert while also, cracking some jokes. That's great too. But the point here, just revisiting this pushy sales thing is like email does have high conversion rates. So when you do try to use email to promote things so people buy them, hopefully not right out the gate buy this thing like Brooke said, but um it can be a very successful medium for selling and a good channel for that. But I think ideally, especially when you think about it in the context of a newsletter, you're really just doing that nurturing. You're building a relationship with someone and you're not trying to just sell them stuff. So I would say keep that thought in your back pocket as you start building emails and trying to figure out what's going to go into this newsletter. It should really be about trying to connect with the person.
Yeah. And so that let's dovetail real quick into actually how to get people to sign up for your email newsletter because I think there is a part here where it's like, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to keep promoting my newsletter and keep telling people to sign up for it. But if you're legitimately making something that is worth subscribing to, that's okay. It's okay to ask people. Like, it's okay that in this podcast episode about newsletters, we said, if you're interested in our newsletter, go ahead and sign up. It's okay that we did that. And the important thing to do is allow people to sign up for your newsletter, maybe even give them a little freebie lead magnet to further entice
Oh,
them, give them some value right out of the gate because yes, the value is in your monthly newsletter, but can you give them even a little more something so that when they sign up, they're like, "Oh my gosh, not only am I going to get your amazing newsletter, but I'm also going to get this comprehensive list of marketing levers too. Oh my gosh, amazing. I'm a fan."
yeah, literally that is what we do at Big Bad. That's our process is you get something that's really compelling to get you on the list. We want you to be excited to sign up for our newsletter. So we're like, hey, here's a thing that's going to make you excited. It's going to entice you to sign up. And this isn't meant to be like sort of skeevy sales vibes. This is meant to be like we want to show you right out of the gate that you're going to get value from participating. And so we're going to show you like right away here is value. Give us your email, and you'll just, before you even get a newsletter, you're going to get something that's really valuable.
Yeah, love that. And make sure that with these email opt-ins, you're making them super easy, easy to find, easy to navigate. You're only asking for their name and email address. You're not asking for a million, 100,000 things, and that they're easy to get to. So in the first iteration of our email opt-in, it was on our homepage and it was down a little ways on our homepage. So we would send people to bigbadmarketing.com and then the opt-in was actually way down. So what we did instead is we just created a separate page. So bigbadmarketing.com/newsletter. And the only thing you can do on that page is opt into our newsletter. So make it really easy, be strategic about it, make it easy to find, make it easy to sign up.
Yeah, we say that a lot too about when you send people somewhere to pay you. Make it super easy for them to give you money. This is the same concept. Don't ask them for their social security number or last year's revenue goals or like things they're going to have to be like, oh, I don't have that right now. And they got to run away and look for stuff. They're not going to do that. Just make it so simple that it's easy.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So, how would someone grow their email list aside from a lead magnet? And then once they have like a list of a sizable list, I'll call it, how would they segment it to more effectively target people with their emails?
So segmenting the list, I would definitely say if you have a newsletter sign up, segment that list as newsletter and then wait for people to take further actions to move them in other areas of your list. So if someone then buys something, they convert into a customer and now they're in that customer segment of your list. But as long as somebody just lives in newsletter, you know that they opted in, they have your freebie, they've given you permission, but at this point, all they're really asking you for is the newsletter. So I think just segmenting in that way, keeping it really simple. There's a lot of other things we can talk about in, future episodes about growing the email list, but I think that is sort of the basics for your newsletter.
Okay, okay. Let's do like a hot take question here, which is if someone didn't sign up for the newsletter, but they purchased something from you and you now have your email address, can you add them to your newsletter or your email marketing list?
100%. And I think you should, right? Anyone who has engaged with you in some capacity, like buying a thing, like they're into it. They want to hear from you. So yeah, I think the newsletter is sort of this universal thing that you can send to everybody. You can send it to existing clients, you can send it to prospective clients, you can send it to people you met at a networking event. And again, if people don't want it, they will unsubscribe. And
They're gonna leave.
yes. And I know unsubscribes are like this bad, bad, bad thing, and you're going to get penalized if you get too many unsubscribes, but it's okay. We like that. We like to keep a more curated list. So don't be afraid of that. Add people to the list. If they don't want it, they will either not open it or they will unsubscribe.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to say big bold move I saw recently. I signed up for a newsletter from an author that I like, and they send out, weekly or biweekly emails. And I don't always have time to read them. And I think I've made my point over time that like, I just get really annoyed when my inbox is full of stuff that I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. So I just don't open a lot of things. And then this author, like their system, whatever, emailed me with like, hey, we noticed you haven't opened any of our emails in a while. Do you still want to be on this list? Other like if you don't respond, then we're gonna go ahead and remove you. And I loved that. It was so bold, but it also was very clearly targeted to making sure their email list is engaged and made up of people who really want that content so that they're not wasting their time or like marketing efforts to reach people who just don't care and aren't interested in ever hearing from them. And I just loved that. It's like we know what we bring to the table, so we're not afraid if you're not here sitting with us. I loved it.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
with that in mind, you've got this curated list of people who have said, I want to hear from you. So, how do we go about boosting the open rate and then also the click rate of those newsletters?
Okay. I think that we didn't mention this yet, but what's really important is a clear template. So once they open the email, there's sort of like an like a real newspaper, like you can scan, you can look for the page and the section that you might be interested in. Maybe everyone's not going to be interested in the same aspects of your newsletter. So really clearly templatizing that makes it so that the format is skimmable and easy to access. People can find exactly what they want. I would say that that's key, and keep it consistent so that people always know what to look for, where to look, and they can get the thing they want. And that's if they like sort of have an expectation and can trust that that's generally consistent, they're going to be more likely to open it. Um, and then the biggest thing with any emails is going to be your subject line, right? That's like the first 5 words that's either going to compel someone to open it or not. And this is a great opportunity to A B test, especially depending on your capacity, your tech savviness, and um, how large your list is, and if you have the capacity. A B testing, trying out different phrasing, different um, order of the words, or capturing different aspects of it. One thing that's really popular right now is using the person's name in the subject line, and that's a great option to test. Are people in your email list interested in seeing their name in the subject line? Are they interested in the word free? Are they interested in the word new or quick? Right, these are great ideas to test out different subject line possibilities that will get someone excited and open the email.
Yeah. And I think so there's kind of two schools of thought. One is that you can pick a consistent title for this email. So Tim Ferriss's 5 Bullet Friday is a great example. That is his weekly newsletter where he shares the 5 things before the weekend. And every week it's going to come into your inbox and it's going to say 5 Bullet Friday. If you have a recognizable brand or a large audience. So, for example, in the next 3 to 5 years, when Big Bad Marketing gets extremely popular, we
Tomorrow.
might send the newsletter and say, Big Bad Marketing August newsletter, because we know that our following is interested and expects that from us. Or it might just be the Big Bad newsletter. Who knows? We're going to iterate, we'll workshop it later. But in general, because your goal is to get someone to stop scrolling their inbox and click on your email, a catchier kind of subject that's related to the content could be a great way to go, and not necessarily saying monthly newsletter, right? So making it more
Sure.
creative and fun.
Sure. Okay. And then another thing, which it's going to tie back and maybe be conflicting with what I said before, but I want to dispel, is every time you contact a prospect or someone in your audience, whatever medium or channel that is, ideally you have a CTA. A CTA is a call to action. And so we say that a lot. Everything you do should have a CTA, but it shouldn't necessarily be buy something. CTAs are part of your larger sales funnel. So, yes, ideally, long term, long game, North Star is you get a lead into the funnel, they make their way down the funnel, and then they buy something. Yes. But at every touch point, we just want them to do the very next step, the very next tiny thing that they can do to move themselves down your funnel. So, for example, for us, we're like, hey, sign up for our newsletter. That way, you will get our newsletters and more information on a regular basis about our offers, about what we do, plus a lot of value for you. And that's just like a slow, steady way to move our prospects down our pipeline. We are not asking you on this call to be like, buy our package, sign up for our program, right? And so that's the same here in the emails, is like, just think about the very next thing you want that person to do, which is maybe now listen to the podcast episode. Now visit our website. Now go check out our latest social media post, right? It's just one tiny step. It's nurturing your customers, your prospects.
Yeah. And I think generally when it comes to email, we operate pretty much from this place of like one intent for one email. However, in your newsletter, it is okay to have many CTAs because you are sharing a lot of things. So you
Mm-hmm.
might have a CTA that says read the blog. You might have a CTA that says listen to the podcast, because you're sharing these in different sections. You might have a CTA that is talking about go check out this bag that I love, if that's a thing that you're promoting. So just it's okay to have many. Roll with that.
Cool. Okay. Quick question for you is, what platforms should people be using to send emails?
Ooh, so to start, go with whatever email provider you are using today. If you are using Squarespace, set up a template in Squarespace. Same with MailChimp, but there are platforms that kind of take it another step for newsletters, ConvertKit, now just Kit, is one that I actually recommended to a friend yesterday who was looking to do a newsletter. Flowdesk and MailerLite are two other options. I'm not as familiar with them. I'm familiar with Kit, but generally just do it in the existing email software that you have. Pick one and go. Everything is templatized. They're super easy. Do not let picking a platform stop you from sending your newsletter.
Awesome. Okay. Love that. And okay. Question rapid fire ish is like, can a newsletter lead to making you money? Is there an ROI on a newsletter?
Yeah, there
I'm
is.
all like, no sales, no sales, no sales, but tell
Yeah.
me hot takes.
Yeah, so quick hot takes. We are actually we're on the clock right now because we got to go talk to a prospect. So we're gonna hit you with some rapid fire stuff here at the end. Um, you can make a direct sales pitch in a newsletter. You can include affiliate links. You can include an upcoming launch. You can include an upcoming event where you're going to be or a promotion. That's okay. I wouldn't make it your first thing. If you want to include it a little further down, that's okay. But indirectly, it can lead to brand trust, referrals, and retention over time. So yes, a newsletter can make you money. There are also certain tools like Kit, which they have a tip jar at the bottom where if you want to support a creator, but you don't want to buy something directly from them, you can sort of like leave them a tip. So that's another way that a
Oh,
newsletter
nice.
could
Okay.
potentially make you money. But the one other thing that is really important that a lot of people don't do is you don't just want to send your newsletter into the ether and then wonder if it worked. There are analytics with any platform you use. Look at your open rate, look at your click rate, look at the links that people are clicking, respond accordingly, and try to do more of what people are already telling you that they like.
Do more of the thing they like. Boom, that's gold.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're already telling you.
Yeah, there's no secrets. That's what I love about this. It's like there's no secrets. It's just like look at data, look at what is actually working and just do more of that. People are like, what's the big marketing secret? We're like,
There isn't.
there's no secret.
There's no secret. It's all
Just
here.
look at
I can't hear you
it. Oh, I'm
because it's
whispering.
a
I'm like, this
secret.
is ASMR. Yeah, this is a secret. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe so you don't miss a single episode, a single moment of the Big Bad Marketing Podcast, wherever you're listening to the podcast, and give us a like, a thumbs up, and a comment.
Have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.